Welcome to Still Surviving and Walking in Your Purpose. Today's guest has an amazing story of what it means to be outlasting. Please welcome to our show, Deborah Williams. Deborah, welcome.
Thank you so much.
So Deborah, share with our audience, who is Deborah Williams?
I am a mother, I am a Christian, I am a minister, I am a therapist, I am whoever a person needs at the time that they need me. That is who I am.
That is wonderful. That sounds like a lot.
Yes.
A lot. So tell us, share with our audience your survival story.
I am originally from Jamaica. I moved here to the United States in the year 2000 to attend the University of North Florida. And when I moved here to the U.S., my story was just beginning. But for me, surviving has been a part of my life since I can remember myself. Surviving being the daughter of a notorious drug dealer in Jamaica and having to go through the loss of home and even the parts of families because of the separation, but through it all, being able to still be grounded and strong, and then finding this ability to continue to go on in spite of, and living life with many people not knowing what it is that I had gone through. Coming here to the U.S. was a blessing to be able to attend university, but we came here with nothing, absolutely nothing. And we came here just because I got the scholarship to come here to school, and to build from that up was a survival in itself too. Being the eldest of the children from my mother, I always felt the responsibility to take on certain roles and helping our family to stay afloat and stay surviving without having to necessarily let people know what was happening. So learning the ability to adapt and not wearing your struggles, but being able to go on and to do what you need to do in order to continue. Thinking you're making the right choices, you make certain choices in life, not thinking of what could happen because you're not planning for those things to happen. But during the time, I ended up getting married and thinking I was marrying into a person that was meant for me, that I believed that was the person I was to be with, and thinking, okay, now I have the ability to start afresh.
Was that after you left Jamaica?
Yes, this was...
How old were you when you came?
I came to the States when I was 18.
Okay.
And it was right after graduating with my bachelor's degree that I met my then husband, and that we were going to be doing a lot of plans and work for the Lord. And the next stage was the loss of a marriage. And before the loss of the marriage was almost the loss of my life. In bringing life into the world, I almost lost my life when I had my son. So it's just different stages of learning to survive. So when I say that I outlasted, it was so many things that came into my life that should have been an ending point for me. But instead of it being an ending point, it became a new stepping stone for me to go forward.
You talked about being the daughter of a drug dealer. in Jamaica.
Yes.
So your upbringing may have been shaped by that. And then going from that up until the time you were 18 and then coming to the States. So do you think your selection of a mate had something to do perhaps with the upbringing?
Absolutely. Being raised in a household where that was a situation, the blessed thing was that I had no clue until it came out in the news after he was arrested. So I didn't have to grow up in the shadow of knowing this. That. It was just when he was arrested, that's when that information came out. But it did definitely shape who I looked for in a mate, because all I could think is, I want the furthest thing from that, because I saw the impacts of what it had to my family. I saw the impact of what it had on me as a young lady growing up. I saw the impact that it had on my mother and what a marriage looked like to me. I said I would not have that happen to me or to my children. So it definitely shaped who I looked for in a mate. And I believed when I made the decision that it was the best decision at the time.
And in making those decisions, we're not always conscious of what's leading us in that direction. As you said, we think we're making the best decision based on what we know, based on our experiences, based on what we've been through. Then we make those choices. And having had more information, we might have made a different choice. But based on what we know, we make choices. And again, those might not always be the best choices for our life long term. Yes. But you were able to, even after making that choice, you were still able to come out of that situation and survive. You also talked about losing your marriage and then almost losing your life in the birth of a child. And all of those things are very traumatic things to have happen to anybody. What do you think caused you to be able to survive all of that? What was the catalyst or the thing or the person that helped you to survive?
With each stage of my life, the two pieces that always remained constant was my faith and was my mother. She is the first woman that I ever saw surviving. And in her surviving, she did it with grace. She did it with excellence. And so to me, I always grew up with the idea, if she could do it, then I can do it. And the one thing that came from everything is divorce is terrible. It impacts children terribly. I understand that, having come from that divorce, broken family, marriage. And now I understood it from a spousal perspective. And many times I realized that, especially as women, when you go through a divorce, it is a loss of an identity. Because you identified yourself as that wife. And so when that divorce is finalized, it feels like a part of you has died. And that's what it felt like for me, especially in situations where you as the woman didn't want it. It was brought upon by the other party. And I found that that just wasn't my feeling. That as I interacted with other women who've gone through divorces and who've gone through those situations of broken relationships with an intimate partner, that because they identified with that,
then that identity is gone.
That identity was gone.
Who am I now?
Exactly.
Now that I'm no longer his wife, who am I? And at that stage, you have to try and redefine your life. Yeah. Well, it sounds like you were able to still come out of that and still have a good life. We're going to come back and give you an opportunity to share with us what you're doing now. Welcome back to our show. Deborah, please tell us, why was it important for you to share your story now?
With everything that has gone on in my life, the one thing that I noticed is people always feel that they're alone in their struggle. And I felt that way when I was going through. And by opening up, I realized there are others who have gone through. and they sometimes just need to know that they are not alone in their struggle, and we can share with each other what has helped us to get to the points that we are.
You know, I'm a firm believer that the things that we go through and survive, those things are not for us. Those things are for us to use as a testimony to help someone else, because somebody else is going through the exact same or similar circumstances as yourself, and they don't know that they can survive. They don't know that they can have a better life on the other side. So by sharing your story, it is helping someone else. And it's also helping to create empathy in the minds of others. Yes. You know, we are sometimes so judgmental because we don't know the story. But if you begin to understand some of the things that people have been through, it can help you to be empathetic to someone else. So thank you so much for sharing your story with us. So Deborah, tell us, what is next for Deborah? What are you doing now? What do you have going on?
Well, I have a doctorate in clinical Christian psychology, and what I've been able to do is to start doing private practice to work with just a myriad of different people with different situations, but mainly interesting, the referrals that I've gotten have been for couples, and so being able to help these couples through their struggles and seeing marriages saved has been such a blessing. I've also been able to start a ministry called Mended Hearts Ministries, where we focus on people who come in with broken hearts or broken situations and helping them to heal, because we shouldn't be ashamed of our scars. Our scars are reminders of where we come from, and being able to share that with others. So that's why I specifically called it Mended Hearts Ministries, because just as Jesus had the scars to show us where he came from, we can use our scars to help build other people.
And that's the value of experiences. Yes. Because when you talk to people, that sometimes they don't understand. If you've not been where I've been, you can't relate. But when you can say to someone, I know how you feel, because I felt that. I know where you've been because I've been there. I know what you've been through because I was there. People can relate to what's real and what's genuine. And it's those experiences that God uses to help others. And I believe that that's why, and I know he doesn't cause things to happen in our lives, but for whatever reason, he allows those things to happen. But when we come out on the other side, we come out stronger, we come out better, and we come out with real life experiences that we can then take and turn around and use to help someone else. Absolutely. And it's so important that we share these stories and these experiences, because there are people that need help and they don't know where to go.
Absolutely.
So Deborah, tell us how we can get in touch with you and your ministry. Do you have a website, or is there a phone number that you can give to our audience?
Absolutely. To get in contact with me, you can call 904-570-9079. That will reach both to me for counseling services as well as to our ministry. And just to connect with what you're saying, the word says in Revelations that we overcome the enemy by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. So the testimony is necessary. If these things didn't happen in my life, I wouldn't be the woman, the mother, the minister, and the counselor that I am today. Yes. So although it hurts, and I would never wish this on my worst enemy, it was necessary. And the Bible also says that all things work together for good to those who love God. And so I just thank God every day that though I hate the process, I thank you for the result and for the destination, because it has made me who I am today.
Deborah, what a powerful testimony.
Thank you.
And I'm so grateful to hear that you are using those experiences in ministry. That's what we've been called to do. Yes. Deborah, thank you so much for sharing your story with our audience. We know that it's going to bless someone.
Thank you.
God bless you.
God bless you.
Next, we're going to hear from life coach LaRonda Howard. Welcome back to our show. We are here with my We Are Women in Business sister, Christian life coach LaRonda Howard. LaRonda, welcome to our show.
Thank you, Coach Gigi.
LaRonda, after listening to Deborah's story, she had an amazing story of just the ability to survive